let's get into this review. So, I grew up a pretty big fan of the original animated Mulan. I remember it very vividly. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I still hold on to the memories of that movie, seeing it as a kid. I was very much looking forward to this live-action remake, as a huge fan of the original and as a huge fan of martial arts cinema. I was severely let down by this movie. While the first one has classic humor, side characters, depth, emotion, this movie is lacking in all of those departments. I was expecting a little bit more from the action due to it finally a live-action remake having a PG-13 rating. The action is very watered down. It's not terrible, but it's very watered down. You know it's a Disney movie. The humor in the beginning of this movie is very bad. I did not like it at all. You just feel it's modern Disney humor, and I just didn't work for me at all. Acting is pretty stiff for the most part. I thought Donnie Yen was the best actor in this movie. I love Donnie Yen, and he was great. He's a small role, but he was great. As for the main actress who played Mulan, she was pretty boring. It's a similar complaint I had with the remake of Aladdin. The main actors were not all that great. And the things that they did with Mulan, they give her this power she was born with, a strong chi, and it takes away from the fact that she should have to join this army with all these men and grow and be stronger and fight through all of this and then become the warrior. But she's born with this power that is inside of her that she has to hide it away. So she's already better than everybody else, but the whole time she has to hide away this power. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I wanted to see her progress and grow, not just get through everything and then all of a sudden, okay, I need to reveal this power. That just didn't work for me. As far as taking away of Mushu and the cricket, I knew that was the case in this movie. But I knew they were replacing it with this Phoenix character. It's not a character. It doesn't do anything. It's the ancestors of their family. It does nothing besides fly around in the sky like a vulture in the desert. You don't even get a clear close-up to see its design. Very disappointed in that. There was just no point of that. And the way they use it in its imagery, symbolically, was very cringeworthy. I rolled my eyes big time. I just wasn't a fan of that. As far as positives for this movie, because I could go on and on and on and complain, I truly did not like this movie at all. It just didn't work, and I'm very disappointed with it. But I don't want to be completely negative. On the positive side, it's a very good-looking movie for the most part. The 4K, it's very crisp, the colors are very saturated, it's bright, it's beautiful looking. For the most part, there are scenes that look like they have artificial CG lighting and also CG backdrops that just are a little too perfect looking, so you just know it's green screen. Particularly the third act and the final battle just didn't work for me. It's just a little too green screen. It didn't feel as believable. Because for this movie, they were going for a more realistic vision, but sometimes it just got taken away by the CGI, which it wasn't terrible. It's just, you can just tell it's a CGI backdrop, and it takes away from when there are scenes where there are sets. The sets that there are great. The costumes are great. That's my positive. Everything else in this movie, I was not a fan of. The action never reaches the heights that it could have. I thought they were going to go for it. They went for a PG-13 rating, yet everything is still watered down. There's editing choices in this movie that are absolutely baffling, like shocking to me. That it seems like entire scenes transition and they're about to keep going, and then they cut to something else. and that what in between has already progressed that we didn't even see. And it's just completely diminished certain aspects of it in terms of her growth and her decisions, and even place to place, places she goes. She looks to go someplace and it cuts and she's already there doing something. This has turned into a rant. I wanted to like the movie. I wanted to love it. I'm a huge fan of the original. I'm a huge fan of Asian cinema, Asian culture, martial arts movies, and this just did not reach the potential that it had and that it could have been. It could have been so good, but it was so poorly executed. I'm gonna give Mulan 2020 live action remake a 5 out of 10.